Welcome, Chuggalos, to day 14 of the Brew Crew podcast, Chuggalo Advent Calendar Spectacular. And boy, what a beer we have for you today. Not because of the significance of the beer, because that's going to be tomorrow. That's going to be probably our whopper for the Advent Calendar. But just the story behind this beer. Today, our beer is Jackie O's Chomolungma, as you can see there. And I'll go over the significance of that. And then Jackie O's. Jackie O's is out of Athens, Ohio. So for those of you outside of the state, Athens, Ohio is the southeastern portion of the state. It's also, for you sport fans, the area that Joe Burrow is from. So Joe Burrow is from that part of the state. It's right up against West Virginia. It's probably 45 minutes away. I haven't been there, but the significance for me as an outsider is it's home to the one lone Taco John's that's in the state of Ohio. The significance, while I go with the crack, this is a brown ale coming in at 6.5%. And the significance of this beer is it was brewed to commemorate who the brewery is named after. The brewery is named after the Brew founder's mother, Jackie O, who passed away from lung cancer. So one of the things to commemorate when this brew started in 2007, so it's been around for a long time, 14 years for a beer, with different variations, but pretty much stays in the brown ale tradition. It's just they do the masterpiece, change the recipe, masterpiece. And the interesting thing is there's a specific day when it comes out every year. And I actually have an artifact. So this is my Chomolungma glass. And if you notice here, if only there was a way, longevity.org. So if you go to that website, it's for lung cancer research, and that's what the founder's mother passed away from in 2006. The brewery and the bar started up just a few years prior, so she got to see some of the fruits that the whole process has sowed for, the Jackie O's family. And I would say right up there with Great Lakes, Jackie O's is one of the OGs of the Ohio craft brewing scene, at least from my point of view as a non-Ohio native. I would put Great Lakes and Jackie O's as, Jackie O's is coming up on 20 years. So anyways, even though I've got my can in the coos, so I can't do the canner boner segment, turn in for that later when JT does it, I'm going to drink out of my Jackie O's Chomolungma glass. So again, it's a brown ale, so, expecting more of the brown. I'm not trying to steal Mikey's gimmick. It's just I remembered that I happen to have this glass. So I'm pouring like a complete moron. So I'm just going to let that, I'll drink out of the glass. Because most of the time, if you ever see me out in public or whatever, I hate dirtying glasses. I hate like when the restaurant brings you a beer and they pour it for you already. I'll just take it from the bottle or a glass. There's a few very rare occasions where I'll have it. 3 minutes in and I'm taking my first drink. As I said, coming in, this is like the last beer before things, in my opinion, start getting exciting. I have a couple of stories coming up that just, boneheaded moments that came up with a couple of the beers. But stay tuned, especially for a couple of days. I've had this beer before, so this beer is not much of a surprise. It's a very robust brown ale. And what do I mean by that? It's not subtle like some of the beers that we're like Daybreak with a cream ale or whatever. There's not too much of a shock to the palate. This has got a hoppier context to it. And what I mean by that is they use Cascade, Northwest region hops, so like Willamette Valley and Northern Brewer hops within this brown ale to give it that more assertive alpha acid profile. So it's not just, it doesn't rely just on like the nuttiness that you would get with a brown ale, but it also has like a hop flavor, a hop body to it. But yeah, so it's been a couple of years. This is one, the beer's on the shelf, I'm passing this one by. Again, brown ales, as we've discovered over like the last couple of weeks, in like similar ilk with like cream ales, for the most part, or saisons. Every once in a while they're okay, just as a departure from the norm. But typically, like with this beer, if I'm drinking a Jackie O's beer, I would say their flagship, in my opinion, is Mystic Mama, which is a fantastic IPA. And again, been around for almost 20 years. So now I'm done with that. I'll drink out of the glass. And look at that head. Like, it hasn't calmed down that much at all. It's very, very brown, almost to the point of being like opaque. Like, you would look at that quickly and you're like, oh, that's kind of a stout, except it's got a pretty considerable head, even though that was pouring induced. Wow. Yep. So nuttiness, roasty. I know they claim sweetness. I don't get it, but sweetness compared to what? Is it sweet like a sour? No. Is it, sweeter than, a stout or a lager? Yeah, that's just because there's more ingredients in it. Lots of malt. It relies on the malts and the caramelization of the malts and the balance, the assertive balance that the brewmasters have came up with. So anyways, why the name Chomolungma? Well, I could talk about this because this is more the history, even though you can kind of see the... it's better. I wish I was better on my camera work, but you can kind of see the beast, and JT will go into this more. So Chomolungma is in reference to the monster that roams Tibet, and then Mount Everest, or that's what the people, the Sherpas, call their abominable snowman, their Yeti, their Bigfoot, is this Chomolungma. And it's just, it's interesting, no matter where you go on the globe, at higher elevations, they have, this mythical, missing link type animal or mammal, if you will, massive in size or whatever. And this just happens to be the people of Tibet and the Sherpas that climb the mountains and assist outsiders in climbing the mountains. Wow, I always think of, a lot of things that I want to say as I get to these, but this has been so exciting. Tomorrow's going to be amazing because out of everyone that's participating in this advent calendar, we'll have 4 of us in the same room. JT's graciously opening his bar to us. I don't know the name for it yet. I know he's vacillating between a couple of names. He was just thinking about calling it JT's bar, but I don't. I'll save my commentary for that, but I'm sure he'll have something that fits the scene. I haven't been there in months. So yeah, again at 6.5%, that's not really a play. There's nothing really there. Again, this is probably a one-off. You could definitely find a situation for it. I couldn't, in days past, the Stardust has a moment that hung from the moon, that English bitter, a complete departure from my normal repertoire palate. Like, that had some, speciality to it, some uniqueness, and again, a complete deviation from what I normally drink. This is just about as ho-hum as it gets. I like the story for it. I like that, Jackie O's, and I didn't know till today that the name is in memorial to his mother who he lost. And this beer specifically, proceeds from this. Go to longevity.org, which is a lung cancer awareness and research and everything website. But so off the top rope, I give this beer a 2.75. Again, I last had it and marked it on Untapped, and it was about the same thing. I said then pretty pedestrian. I just have a lot more words and the podium from which to give my my thoughts. And I notice as I'm posting these videos, my hands are all in ridiculous placing. I'm finding more that I'm talking a lot more with my hands, especially in a presentation aspect, because typically when I'm presenting in my normal job, I'm presenting figures or facts or referencing things that are up on a slide or in a document. Yeah, this is fine. It's just there's nothing special to it for me. It's like I said, it's a very robustly assertive brown ale. So it's not going to be your easy drinker, or it's going to be something a little more complex for somebody that's looking for that in a craft beer. But that's it for today. Super excited for tomorrow. This is day 13. Day 14 is going to be awesome. I'm actually going to pack up for that, so I'm ready to go tomorrow and have everything good to go. But again, off the top rope, 2.75. Cheers.